Hi everyone, Velvet here, and I have some stories for you today. But before we get started, can you please do me a huge favor and like, comment, and subscribe? It'll really help the channel out, and it'll get you more videos like this every day. Let's get started. And our first one comes from ICTAP6812. Am I the beehole for refusing to let my stepdaughter live with us? I, a 28-year-old female, have been married to my husband, a 42-year-old male, for 2 years, together for 4. He has 3 children from a previous marriage: Lucas, age 18, male; Lily, age 16, female; and Kyla, an age 13-year-old female. While I do not dislike children, I don't want children of my own, and I've made this very clear to him when we dated. This wasn't an issue, because he only got his children for a few weekends a month, because they lived far away from us. I made it very clear that I didn't want to take care of his children, apart from the occasional weekend. For the past 4 years, I've tried my best to be a good stepmother, and have built a good relationship with my stepson Lucas and stepdaughter Kyla, but I'm unable to build a relationship with Lily. I have tried taking her out for girls' days, shopping sprees, and fun outings. She either refuses to go or complains the whole time. The last straw is when I got her something from her wish list last Christmas, a bracelet that she wanted, and she threw it away saying I got her the wrong one and I was too poor to understand the difference. She then accused me of only marrying her father for his money. I usually don't let her comments get to me, but this was the last straw. After this, I stopped trying to interact with her and maintained my distance. The truth is, I didn't marry my husband for his money. We both work high-paying jobs in tech, but I inherited a lot of my parents' money. I even agreed to pay for part of Lucas's tuition. Anyways, Lily and Kyla want to move to a better school the next year. The school is closer to our home than their mother's, so my husband said that they should live with us. I don't mind living with Kyla, but I don't want to be around Lily. My husband goes to work 4 days a week while I'm at home, so I'll constantly have to be around Lily. And I refuse to do that. I don't mind being around Kyla, but not Lily. I told my husband all of this and he called me a beehole, and we've been fighting ever since. He says I need to step up as a stepmother, and I can't let a teenager hurt me. Lily has been in tears, saying it's not fair that I want Kyla but not her, and her mother is on her side. So, am I the beehole? Edit, to all the people saying I signed up for this when I married a man with kids, my husband led me to believe that he never wanted full custody of them. And if anything were to happen to their mother, their aunt would get custody. He's never been close to his children, and he says he regrets having them. On the weekends they were with us, I spent more time with them. His reaction has me blindsided. I have suggested therapy and family therapy, but my husband is very against therapy, so that is not an option. I have asked my husband to talk to Lily, but he doesn't want to get involved. If her behavior changes, even a little, I have no problem with letting her live with us, but the fact that husband and his ex refuse to talk to her about the behavior, and the fact that I need to be around her all day is terrifying to me. Both of us come from a culture where it's normal to marry an older man, and better settled, so our age gap doesn't come to a shock to anyone. At this time, his first marriage, he was 23 and his ex was 18. Edit 2. My husband leaves for work at 8 a.m. and comes home at 8 p.m. The kids are in school from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., so I have to parent them alone from 3ish to 8. And that this is not something I want to do. When we get married, I said I wouldn't take on any parenting responsibilities, and I stand by it. He refuses to work from home, like me, or gets home sooner. Edit 3. I didn't tell Lily or Kyla any of this. I told my husband, who told his ex, who told the kids. This was meant to be an adult conversation. I know how this information could hurt Lily. Edit 4. For people saying I shouldn't have married a man with kids, I was led to believe by my family that he was the best I could get due to my age. Most women in my community are married by 21. We got to know each other and I fell in love with him, and he assured me that he would support my career. And I wouldn't have to take on the typical role of a mother. I knew that if I didn't get married soon, my family would isolate me. I was coerced by the family and lied to by my husband. Edit 5. Some people are saying I'm not the beehole, and some saying I am the beehole. It's quite obvious that those saying you are the beehole don't know much about other cultures, where honor deceasing and forced marriages exist. In my culture, and actually most cultures outside, maybe the US and certain European countries, children or teenagers don't get to say whatever they want because they're hormonal or whatever. In my culture, men having multiple wives is common. Men marrying young women are common. Men marrying women their daughter's age is also common. Most children my age have multiple mothers. And they know they must be respected. Learn something about other cultures before you say such harsh things. Hi, OP. I'm not gonna look in the comments. Judging from those edits, it seems like a war zone right now down there. But I'm gonna go with you're not the beehole. Because you and your husband discussed this, that you don't want kids and that you want to focus on your career and all that. And now he's trying to, thrust them upon you. And from what I understand, he doesn't want them or like them either. What is he up to? So I don't know what culture you come from, so I don't know exactly what to tell you about the whole marriage situation, but just judging from what you told me, yeah, you're not the beehole, and I think that's cool that you got along with the other ones and you're fine with living with them, so I think you're being perfectly reasonable, and you don't want to deal with the one that's going to give you hassle. And I don't know what she's doing, crying, acting like she's innocent when she's over here being rude and disrespectful. But at the end of the day, those are not your kids. They are not your responsibility. They are your husband's kids. He needs to figure it out, and he needs to stop trying to put his crap onto you like that. And our next one comes from Vast Branch 825. Am I the beehole for telling my sister she's a hypocrite to judge us for not adopting when she only adopted as a last resort? I, a 27-year-old male, am married to my amazing wife, Ever, a 27-year-old female. We are both unable to have children together naturally. Our fertility doctor has suggested our best chance of having a biological child is in vitro fertilization, and we are now working our butts off to make that happen for us. My family is aware of our struggles to conceive, and they know we've decided to pursue in vitro fertilization. My sister Jane, a 43-year-old female, has been vocally outspoken about her disgust at our decision. She told us that ever being adopted, she should be thinking of adoption before any form of fertility treatment. She has ranted about how IVF is unethical, and we're going to F our kids up for life. She has focused the most on her ire on Ever, and I've stepped in each and every time and told her to knock it off, and to keep her opinions to herself. She questions Ever every step of the way, about rejecting adoption, and how her family must feel to know she'd rather have her own bio baby. Instead of adopting when they adopted her, Ever opened up to Jane, which is something I do not think she needed to do. And I told Ever as much, but she wanted to. She told Jane that adoption is not always an ethical option, and while it can be an amazing thing and bring much joy to everyone, adoption is nowhere close to perfect. She also opened up about feeling on the outside her whole life because she's looked like nobody and her family would always pass. Comments about her siblings, bio kids of her parents, looked like family members, and comments were often made about twins, meaning lookalikes. How, as the only kid who's never gotten that, and the kid who was different, it weighs on you. She said her parents and siblings loved her as their own, and she loved them, but she also knew the extended family saw her as the adopted child, as a child that wasn't really theirs. She mentioned how both her parents rejected her when she reached out for contact, and how it all made her long for a genetic connection to the family she creates. She told Jane that she can have that. It will just cost, but she could not in good consequence adopt when it would be her last choice. Jane called her names and told her she was disgusting and she should be ashamed for viewing things this way. Ever was so upset after talking to Jane. Then Jane called me a few days later and told me I should talk to Ever about how she needs to fix her thinking. I hated hearing my sister say that about my wife. And I told Jane that she was the biggest hypocrite going because she only adopted her kids as the last resort. After being told again and again that IUI and IVF would not work for her and the surgery wouldn't either, I told her we never judged her for how she started her family. But I did judge her for having gone through all of that and being so hard on Ever. I told her it was disgusting and that she should be doing better. Jane told me I had no business throwing her infertility at her face and she told me to go F myself. Am I the beehole? OP. That Jane told me I had no business throwing her infertility at her? What do you mean? She was over there slinging mud first, so no, you are not the beehole. Your wife is not the beehole, and I'm hoping and praying you guys have your child with no complications and no problems, and they have a long, long life, and you have a long life with your child. And your sister is 100% the beehole. She is a bloody hypocrite, like you guys said. What? Okay, so I'm guessing her thing is she feels like a failure because she was unable to have a biological child, which No one should feel that way. Sometimes you just get dealt a bad set of cards, man, and you gotta play your hand. And so, since she feels that way, she wants to drag everyone in the mud with her, saying you should do what she does because she thinks she's, well, she probably feels like crap knowing she can't have a bio kid. And I don't feel bad for her, because you don't get to do that. You don't get to act like a ghoul to other people because you can't have something. OP, I don't know how much you care for your sister, but I would be done with this right now because it seems like she's wreaking hell on your wife, and it's gonna, spill over to you eventually. I would sit your sister down, tell her that she can't do this crap anymore, and if she does this crap anymore, you will shut her down and shut her out. Our next one comes from Mama of 4, 232. Would I be the beehole if I called a little girl's mother to ask why my son wasn't invited to her birthday? I, a 28-year-old female, have twin 5-year-old boys, Jude and Jonah. They go to a private Jewish kindergarten, where it's customary to invite the whole class to a birthday party. It might have been the school rule, but I don't think I'm going to take this to the school. Jude and Jonah are very well mannered and reserved. Obviously, I'm biased, but they've always gotten along with their peers and have never gotten into any drama. Jude is definitely a slow reader, and have gotten him into tutor, but it's still been very hard for him. At our synagogue, the bathroom signs just say men and women with no little pictures, and they're all single bathrooms. 2 weekends ago, Jude walked in on the women's by accident. And I guess the door wasn't locked correctly because he walked in on this woman named Jess, who was the mother of a little girl in his class. He said he just saw her on the toilet and ran out, closed the door, and said sorry. Jude immediately came up to me and told me he was very embarrassed. I told him it wasn't a big deal, and he should just remember to knock next time. And the longer word says woman. He said that he will, and that he thought it would be a stalled bathroom like most public bathrooms, and that it's fair, so I left it there. Jess came up to talk to me after and told me like he needed to be punished. She said it was extremely inappropriate. I assured her he didn't know and wouldn't do it again, but she said there's no way he can't read men and women, and that her daughter can, and told me I had to nip this behavior in the bud. I often feel talked down to because of my age by the other parents at the school, so I just said I would take care of it and left it there. On Friday, her daughter was handing out birthday invites and gave one to Jonah, but not Jude. They both asked her why, and she said her mom said not to give him one, and wouldn't tell her why. Jude cried the whole rest of the day and wouldn't tell anyone why because he doesn't want to tattletale. I asked Jude if anything else had happened between the two of them, and he promised me that it didn't, and said they've been playing together at recess this whole last week, and her daughter was trying to cheer him up by suggesting ways to sneak him in. I'm honestly livid. I wouldn't care if she had given neither of them an invite, but giving one twin and not the other is incredibly rude and passive-aggressive. I'm considering calling her and talking this out because I think it's ridiculous, and to hold this much of a grudge against a 5-year-old. Would that make me the beehole? Should I just decline Jonah's invite? I think the birthday rule is silly and it's her choice who she invites, but this is just ridiculous. Edit. Synagogue and school are 2 different places, but there's a lot of overlap with the people. Also, I'm not planning on sending either of them to the party at the moment, but I'm considering calling her to confront her about it, rather than having this weird dynamic where I'm hearing things from Jude that come from her kid that come from her. Hi OP, I don't think calling this woman would make you the beehole, but I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think you're going to get anything anywhere near her. Parents, adults who act like bullies to children are usually idiots, and you're not going to be able to change the mind of an idiot. Again, she is a bully. She's being a real see you next Tuesday. She's going after a 5-year-old and doing this catty, vindictive nonsense trying to invite the other one and not, the other twin. First of all, do not send either of them, which it sounds like you're doing. And I wouldn't call. I would just stay away from this bee and tell your child not to play with her child, because it sounds like she is a terrible, ghoulish, cretinous creature. Seriously, who does that? A grown woman bullying a 5-year-old, and you say that they talk down to you. It sounds like you're being the adult in the situation, and it sounds like she's the child. You can call, but I don't think you're going to get anywhere with it, OP. I think it's just going to piss you off. Our last one comes from Water Musician Man. Am I the beehole for kicking out my friend and ending the party after she fed my dog a treat? Throwaway account, since everyone involved may find this. I, a 28-year-old female, Always knew that when I can live alone, I wanted to have a dog when I moved. I had that opportunity in the form of a relative's pet that needed to be rehomed. She was already very old, 13, deaf, and generally needed a lot of attention. It's been a year, and I love this effing dog. TLDR, she's truly changed my life, and I'm absolutely an annoying dog mom. She is also very allergic to something that her vet and I are trying to figure out what. It manifests in dry, flaky skin that she will itch hard enough to bleed. We're trying a food allergy trial. This means she's on a very specific diet of a prescription dry food until the trial period of 8 to 9 weeks is over. If she does get something off menu, we have to start the trial period over. Most of my friends know this because I always complain about how expensive the food is. Cut to the party. I invited a few close friends around to my place for a holiday shindig. Living far away, work, etc. usually keeps us apart, so I was super excited. I ordered us McDonald's. We all agreed beforehand to split the big order because why the F not? And made a ton of jokes about my dog, about how none of this is for you, young lady, in front of everyone. I'll admit, this was a thinly veiled reminder for everyone else too. The food comes and we're all having a good time. I step away to find my friend, a 25-year-old female, dropping a piece of fish fillet for my dog to gobble up in the kitchen. I freak out and ask her what is she doing? Again, my dog is deaf, so she just keeps pawing at my friend for another piece, which she gave her saying, "But she's so cute, a little piece of fish can't hurt." I'll admit, I kind of lost it. We were 6 weeks into the trial, and now I'd have to start all over, buying so much more expensive food. I'm sure I yelled and cussed at her. I don't really remember. I saw red. I do remember telling everyone that I'm sorry, but I'm too angry to enjoy or host the party right now. And I asked everyone to leave. I told them to feel free to take the remaining food and don't worry about paying their shares since I'm the reason the party is ending early. The next day, I apologized to my friend for yelling. She seems very hurt and isn't open to continuing the conversation. She says she honestly forgot and didn't see the harm. To be fair, fish was on the list of things I don't suspect she's allergic to, and may have mentioned that to the group. Also, my dog is on the other medications that stop any harmful reactions to the off-list foods. At most, she'll get flaky skin, but not super itchy or upset stomach or anything. My friends overall seem pretty split. Half the group thinks I'm justified and are upset with me ending the party, knowing how much I care about my dog. The other half thinks I'm overreacting to a piece of fish. Hi, OP. I'm gonna say you're not the beehole. Maybe you could have handled that better, but not the beehole. I get it. I have dogs and I love them to death. And my dog has an allergy. She is lactose intolerant, and things don't end well if she doesn't get outside after having any kind of milk product. And yeah, I'd understand why you'd be mad. It's a ton of all that money on that expensive food wasted, the time wasted, because your friend decided to feed her some McDonald's fish fillet. I don't know about canceling the party. Maybe I would have talked it out with your friends some more, but I get it. You were pissed because all of that happened. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna give you a pass on that because you said they didn't have to pay for the meal. I say that helps. I say that makes you a little bit aces in my eyes. So no, not the beehole. Maybe he handled it a little too rough, but overall I don't think it was too bad. Thank you so much for staying with me to the end of this video. Can you please do what I said in the beginning and like, comment, and subscribe? It will really help the channel out, and it'll get you more videos like this every day. Velvet out.